up ahead. Affirmative 612.
Welcome to the rebrand of the Pilot Money Guy here, formerly the Wealthy Pilots Podcast with Scott Osborn or George Washington Jr. or whatever it might be. But we're rebranding. It's July 4th. It's the 250th celebration of our country, Scott. And looking forward to having a chat today. We're going to talk about financial freedom today. Makes sense, right? So how you doing, George?
I've never been better. I have never been better.
You look great for 250-something years old.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so tonight the movie Young Washington comes out. So, after 22 years in the Army, tour overseas and all that jazz, my family is pretty patriotic and we love American history. And so
Nice.
we're taking the kids to go to see that movie tonight. And they were like, can we dress up for it? So we got some George Washington costumes. And I thought, you know what? We are doing an episode on financial independence anyways. So we might as well. And we got Washington here always looking over our shoulder here at Patriot Wealth Planners, encouraging us to, take courage and do hard things while he's crossing the Delaware on Christmas Eve. So we thought we would just sport this in honor of him and
Nice.
our efforts for financial independence. That's what we're all about here.
And it works well for the rebrand of the show as well. So we're kicking things off here with the July 4th drop, July 3rd, I think, and whatever Thursday is when we drop this. But either way, so we just, you change the name a little bit more focused, a little more centric to what you guys do. So same great content, same great information. We'll have links to everything down below as always. So to the websites to get into to get in touch. Excuse me, if I could talk with Scott. Get yourself some time on the calendar. All that good stuff. So just a little bit about that rebrand change as well. But same stuff, same two guys talking about things. And of course, Scott is here to help you as always. And if you need help, just go to his website, pilotmoneyguy.com. We'll have links in the show descriptions. All right, George, let's talk a little bit about some of this stuff here. Financial freedom, the mindset, right? We got to start there to get some financial independence.
Yeah. So for this podcast, Mark, I did have 250 bullet points I wanted to touch base with, but I know you're a little tight on time. So I don't
think the list, the viewers probably,
stuff, so.
They probably appreciate that too. So yeah.
So, but the very first one I wanted to hit was mindset, and to me, I think this is a big one. So, our guys and gals that end up at the airlines and just have wonderful careers. We talk about it all the time, with them as they're making more than they ever thought. They're saving more than they ever thought. They're building a net worth more than they ever thought. And so much of that, I think, it's common in America today anyways. But I think a lot of it is like, hey, you've built a world-class career. We need to have that world-class mindset to go with it. Like, you're not that broke person that joined the military and went to flight school and built a good career as a military officer and then transitioned here. Or I'm not the person that was, eating ramen noodles while I was in flight school and doing CFI, flight instruction and that kind of stuff. It's like, it's kind of shedding some new skin and getting that mindset of, hey, I have the opportunity to, if I don't, mess this up, I should absolutely be a multimillionaire. So how do I start to get that multimillionaire mindset and understand that I have set myself up to create generational wealth here and leave a legacy, not just fund a great retirement, but if I just do some simple things right over and over and over again, I can really change my financial future for not only myself, but my kids and my grandkids. Yeah. And so to me, I think some of that comes from getting I've already built a world-class career. How do I get the world-class mindset with my financials to do the same thing? Okay. Yeah. So I think that's probably the number one thing.
You decide who you are, right? Make those decisions, make those mental changes, and then everything else will follow suit, especially if you've put those pieces in place, as you just talked about. So then obviously the income is the engine that's going to drive this, or the guy that was in the back of George's boat doing the rowing, several guys probably, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many exactly. I never counted. But yeah, I mean, the number one thing, if you look at the data, the data will tell you that for most millionaires in America, they just have a good income and then they save and invest well. And they don't make stupid decisions. But the number one thing that's going to help you is having a good income. And so, our pilots, just through the nature of all the gravel that they've eaten to get where they've gotten in their careers, have set themselves up to have a good income. So the income is absolutely the engine for wealth building. You can enjoy some lifestyle along the way as well, but we want to set ourselves up with a good income. And again, if you're an airline pilot at a major airline, I mean, that's, I will say, a given.
It follows suit. Yeah, for sure.
Follows suit, right?
And it's funny, Scott, because that's a bigger predictor of millionaire status, if you will, than inheritance or luck or a hot stock tip or whatever, right? It's just that high income. And yeah, these folks are in line for that.
Well, and it kind of segues into the next point I want to make, which is it kind of factors into discipline, right? It's taken a lot of discipline to build a good career. That's in corporate America. That's in business. That's in the airline world. It takes a lot of discipline, and you have to overcome. I mean, if you look at a lot of our folks, they've had different failures along the way that they've had to overcome, and have grit, have patience, and then they get there. And most of our folks, it's not handed to a silver platter for anybody. It's a lot of hard work. Now, there's a temptation, I think, at times where when I've made a lot of sacrifices, I want to go just enjoy the splendor of this new income.
Sure. Lifestyle creep. It's totally real, and it's a thing.
Now, we only live once. And so I'll be the first to tell you, between my wife and my 7 daughters, like we do enjoy our life, right? I mean, we like to go on vacation. We like to enjoy our, time in the backyard in the summer and all those kind of things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we need to make sure that as our income goes up, or as I'm able to go work, overtime trips or pick up overtime trips to make my income go up, that I'm not chasing my lifestyle right up with it. So we want to balance that tension of, I need to save for the future, and I want to make sure I'm saving enough, but I got to live for today too, because tomorrow's not guaranteed for any of us, And, I had a client recently who's 70, peak condition, amazing health, out of nowhere had a stroke. It was just heartbreaking, and he was rehabbing well. He was in super good shape. And, I could tell you they did a good job saving and investing. And then also early in retirement, we had a really good spend plan, and they were enjoying retirement. And one of the very first things they said was, I'm so glad we were doing so much of the travel that we did when we first retired. And so, there's no future that's guaranteed for any of us. So we want to be able to enjoy today for today, but we also don't want to be reckless with that. And again, chase our lifestyle up where we're feeling a lot of stress. Like nobody should be, making mid 6 figures and saying, man, I make too much money to be worrying about paying my credit card bills. That's true. You probably do. So we just want to make sure we have a good amount of discipline in there too, that we're able to build the net worth and build that retirement and build the asset base that's going to sustain us through retirement in a way that we really, really enjoy. That ultimately we're not counting on the fact that, hey, as long as I can fly up until my 65th birthday, I'll be fine. We want to make sure that we have kind of managed that tension successfully. And that's where, again, I think the episode we're going to release next on retirement income is so important. The more we can get an understanding of if we're saving enough, the more we can really just feel free to enjoy today for today.
Well, and so a lot of that is going to come to, we're talking about financial freedom and attaining that. Patience, compounding interest, that could go a long way, especially if you've got a good long career.
This is the 4th thing I would say too. I think there's a lot of folks out there that they're chasing a shiny object, trying to accelerate their wealth building.
Sure.
So I think it was Einstein who famously said that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. And so, when we look at that parabolic curve where compound interest works, I mean, all of the power is in the last handful of years. It's in that last 7 years of working. And so we don't need to chase that. We need to be intentional with our savings, and we need to be the right level of aggressive with the investments. And then we know it's going to go up and down. But if we let things compound and we don't disrupt the compounding machine, we have a century and a half of data that in this country, thanks to our founding fathers, we've built an economic system that is going to take care of us. Is there going to be flat years? Is there going to be down years? Is there going to be flat decades? Yes. But we keep buying, we keep investing, and we stay the course. And that patience allows compound interest to do its thing. And so many times we see, as people are getting closer to retirement, many times they're too aggressive because they're chasing some number or some level of performance, or even worse, they're too conservative, and they're missing out on a lot of compound interest out of fear of a down market. So that's where we want to kind of manage that tension appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, to put some numbers to that, Scott, just to kind of mess with people a little bit, and not to mess with you, but it just is what it is, right? $10,000 invested at 30 years old at a 9% average return over 30 years is about 132 grand, right?
Yeah.
The same amount started at by a 40-year-old is only like 56 grand. So, time,
and we can't buy time. We cannot buy time.
No.
So the sooner that we commit to this plan, actually, the less we have to save later, because we have compound interest and we have time on our side.
Yeah, you don't have time, you can't buy time, but you can get a plan. So
exactly.
That's point number 5 here.
And as we kind of bring it home here in the last couple points. So the second to last one here is having a plan. So, this is the hat tip to our founding fathers, but, they had a vision and they had a plan, and then they fought for it. And so when we think about having a real plan, to me, knowing that the company's putting money in the 401k and it's going to a default plan, okay, that's not a plan. I'm happy money's going in the 401k. That is not a plan. Having a plan is understanding what my retirement's going to look like. And again, we're going to talk about this next week, but being directionally correct. We don't need to obsess over precision, because that's going to cause us to procrastinate. We want to do some back of the napkin math to get us directionally correct. All right. And then we want to make sure that we have a savings and investment plan that is going to deliver that. And then we want to know, what are the tax consequences of what we're doing now and throughout my career and in retirement? We can project those things out, and then we can scenario plan. It's not overly complicated. And then the last part about this planning process, and again, this is back to that mindset, is having good contingency plans. What if I can't fly until I'm 65? What if I become disabled? What if my spouse does? What if I die early? Those are things that do happen. We want, God forbid they do. We don't want them to happen, but we want to have good contingency plans, right? I mean, heck, you look back at the Revolutionary War, we didn't win every single battle. Okay. So not everything goes perfect. It was another Mike Tyson quote, right? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Things are going to happen. Not everything is going to go right throughout a 30-year career. So we want to have some contingency plans built into, that's part of having a plan. Again, just because I'm saving money in my 401k doesn't mean I have a plan. So those are the key things we want to look at. We're saving in and out and investing, prudently in and out of the 401k. We understand the tax consequences. We have good contingency plans. If I got those 3 things and they're written down on a dang Google document, that's it. I don't need a 97-page PDF from some financial planning software I'm never going to read. I just need to have this written down on one page, and then I have a plan. So having a plan.
And then you got to kill the procrastination. That's the last piece. You gotta box that joker up and ship it off something, right? Because procrastination is the thief of tomorrow for sure.
Procrastination is the thief of all progress. I mean, I could not agree more. So there has to come a time where I, just have that internal conviction that this is the year, this is the month. I'm just going to get my crap together, and I'm going to get organized with my finances, my tax plan, and my contingency plans. And I'm going to just get it buttoned up. This is the year. And again, it's not really that hard. It's just something that needs to be done. And so procrastination that is a way that we just, self-sabotage ourselves and prevent ourselves from getting better results, prevent our investments performing the way they should perform, prevent ourselves from setting up, tons of tax efficiency later in retirement. And it goes back to that compound interest thing. All the things we do now and we take action on, we stop procrastinating, we take action on, those are going to be things that compound in our favor over time. Okay. And so we just want to lean into some of this stuff and get the priorities listed out and then work them one at a time. Again, if you talk to a lot of our clients, it's not that hard. It's pretty simple to get a lot of this stuff done. It's just a matter of writing out a to-do list and then getting it done. And so killing procrastination, I think, is important. And again, it's super easy to say, I'm going to do it after I get to that next hurdle, right? Hey, I'm going to do it after I get to a legacy carrier. Well, you know what? I'm going to do this after I get my upgrade to captain. I'm going to do this after I turn 50. And again, the more we continue to just put those new marks out there, the easier it is when I get up to that mark to just put out another new mark and procrastinate further. And what have we done with all that procrastination? We've missed out on all that compound interest working on our behalf for those years, sometimes even decades before. And the worst thing we want to do is have something go wrong and have procrastinated on a contingency plan, and then us, or God forbid, our loved ones are paying the price for it. So part of, I think, being a leader, being a professional, and having that wealthy mindset is killing procrastination and being professional with our finances too.
Yep, you got to march yourself towards financial freedom. And so if you need some help, reach out to the Pilot Money Guy, and Scott is here to help you. So get yourself some time onto the calendar. Subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. It's the same channel. Everything's exactly the same. If you've already been watching the show, nothing's changed. Just a little name rebrand. So feel free to just continue right along. But if you haven't hit that subscribe button, consider doing so again on Apple, Spotify, or Spotify, or right here on YouTube. And we will see you next time. Scott, thanks for hanging out, buddy. Enjoy the show with the kids and dressing up and good stuff, my friend.
Happy 4th, everybody.
We'll see you next time here on the Pilot Money Guy with Scott Osborn.
Hey everyone, real quick, if you haven't grabbed Scott's Financial Flight Control Toolkit yet, now is the time. This is packed with tons of helpful resources and tools like this, Scott's book, The Dichotomy of Wealth, which is a pilot's guide to maximizing wealth and cash flow in retirement. You also get access to some great guides like this one, Advice Matters, which breaks down 4 key ways a good financial advisor can help you boost your returns over time. And guides like this one on the pitfalls of emotions when it comes to investing, and this one on the HCM byline investment strategy, and more. So if you'd like your very own Financial Flight Control Toolkit, just click the link in today's show description, and Scott and the team will be happy to get one sent your way at absolutely no cost to you.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action.